Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. Let me say one more time that we do have more copies of the Acts 1, The Meaning Behind the Manner by Dan Derry. We do have many more copies coming. Let me apologize again for the delay in fulfilling the orders that continue to come in. Pure oversight on my part. I failed to keep count of the sales of the original stock that I had ordered. Had I not already sold so many of them, we would be in great shape, would be able to fulfill all these orders. But before I ever introduced the book officially, all right, I was offering the book, and the sales just, caught me by surprise. So, like I said, we have another supply, very good supply coming in. We will begin filling those orders the moment those books arrive. And for those of you who do not receive your books immediately or in the next couple of days, guess what? We're going to sweeten the pot. We're going to include a little bit something extra in the package for you to express our appreciation for your offer and to apologize that you didn't get it in more timely fashion. All right, we're looking at the language of Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 and 30. Jesus predicting his coming, his parousia, immediately after the tribulation, the great tribulation. Now, folks, let's not forget this, okay? The great tribulation would be Judea-centric. That doesn't mean it wouldn't spill out into the other areas of the world at the time, but it was Judea-centric because Jesus said, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, let the one who reads understand, then let those in Judea flee, for then shall be great tribulation. So, the abomination of desolation would be set up in Judea. Jesus' apostles would witness that, and he said, let those in Judea, where the abomination was set up, flee, because then shall be great tribulation. So the great tribulation was to be focused on Judea, and immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars of heaven shall fall from the sky, the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Folks, I'm sorry, it is impossible to do honest exegetical work. It is impossible to be honest with hermeneutic and to take Matthew 24, 29 and following outside of the first century. And yet that's exactly what a great number of commentators do. And their basic argument is, well, we all know that Jesus didn't come in the first century. He didn't come on the clouds. Therefore, we've got to ignore all of this language of the abomination of desolation, the apostles seeing it, fleeing from Jerusalem, and the coming being immediately associated with those temporally delimited elements. That is not, I'll be blunt here, but I don't mean to be offensive. That is not being honest with the text. I know as well as anyone how difficult it is to give up preconceived ideas. I was raised as a fifth-generation historicist / amillennialist. I debated that view. I loved that view. But when I was confronted by that kind of textual reality, the undeniable textual reality, the undeniable audience relevance, I had a choice. I had to either be honest in my dealings with God's Word and change my views, or I could just reject it all and manipulate it and twist it and pervert it and distort it until it has no resemblance to what it actually says. Well, I could go on that, but I want to continue with the fact I shared with you for now a couple of videos, the unseen nature. When Jesus said the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, that refers to the reality that the visible events would be signs of what was going on behind the scenes in the spiritual realm. They would not see, literally, visibly, and optically, what was going on in the spiritual realm. What they would see was the physical actions taking place in their world, abomination of desolation, flee from Jerusalem, great tribulation, coming of the Lord. Okay? 3 of those would be optically visible, pointing to the spiritual. And look, the reality that the New Testament writers pointed to the unseen nature of the eschatological realities cannot be denied. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, 16 and following, Paul says, "Therefore we do not lose heart, even though our outward man is perishing, our inward man is being renewed day by day." Now look, that passage is pregnant with meaning. I don't have time to go into it this morning, but I want to tell you, that passage deals some tremendous difficulties for the futurist view. But to continue, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, works in us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory." Now watch this. "While we do not look at the things which are seen, but at the things that are unseen." Now, everyone admits Paul's talking about resurrection here. Because after all, chapter 5, verse 1, we know that if our earthly tabernacle is dissolved, we have a building of God, a house not made with hands. Well, everybody agrees that's resurrection language. Okay, you have the dissolving of a tabernacle and the receiving of a heavenly tabernacle. Isn't that the putting off of the old man, the outward man that was perishing, which is present active indicative? Isn't that indicative of the outward man that was perishing, the inner man that was being renewed day by day? And yet he uses it in the terminology of tabernacle. Body and tabernacle here are being used in synonymous ways. But do you catch the reality that Paul is talking about? That transition from the old body, the old tabernacle, to the new tabernacle was not visible. It's unseen. We do not look at the things that are seen, but at the things that are unseen. But you see, Paul points out the things that are not seen, they are the eternal realities. People get confused sometimes. They say, "Oh, when you talk about spiritual, you're talking about something that's not even real." No. 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, no. The spiritual, the unseen, is the eternal. It is the true reality. Paul is contrasting temporal and temporary things with the eternal realities. And once again, folks, let's not lose sight of the fact he is talking in this text of resurrection. So that means that for Paul, the resurrection, which means the judgment and the second coming, were things that he could say, we do not look at the things that are seen. It's kind of like Jesus saying in Luke chapter 17, 20 and 21, when the Pharisees, who wanted a visible kingdom brought in by the physical resurrection, and Jesus said, the kingdom does not come with observation. Well, if the kingdom comes at the Parousia, and it does, Matthew 16, 27 and 28, and if the kingdom does not come with observation, then the parousia of Christ does not come with observation. Oh, let's change that up just a little bit. If the kingdom does not come with observation, and if the resurrection ushers in the resurrection of the kingdom, then since the kingdom is unseen, the resurrection is an unseen event. You catch the power of that? Hey, listen, I develop all of this in my book, We Shall Meet Him in the Air, the Wedding of the King of Kings. For the month of February 2020, for U.S. continental orders only, I'm sorry I cannot make this offer for out-of-country orders, but I have a 3-book offer, all right? These books, if you purchase them separately, would cost you almost $60. We Shall Meet Him in the Air, The Wedding of the King of Kings, The Last Days Identified, and In Flaming Fire. Now, I have an extensive discussion of the unseen nature of the resurrection, the coming of the Lord, and the judgment in this book. And in tomorrow's video, I'm going to share with you an Old Testament passage that just, all but explicitly says the resurrection was going to be an unseen event. But boy, is it ever ignored. Anyway, for the month of February 2020, again, U.S. orders only, regularly almost $60, February offer, $40 post-paid to your door. There's a banner on my website, donkpreston.com, BibleProphecy.com. Just go there, right up at the top, click the banner, and it'll walk you through the ordering. Look, you'll be glad. You will be absolutely amazed how much evidence there is to show, to prove definitively that Christ's second coming, the judgment, the resurrection, was his victory over the spiritual forces, the heavenly powers in the unseen realm. It's amazing. Hey, we've got more. I'll see you on the flip side.